Hello and welcome back to the Adored Woman podcast. Today we're talking about why you feel so needy in relationships, and I'll share with you 3 ways to finally feel secure even if you're not currently in your dream relationship. Before we start, if you're new to the Adored Woman podcast, then a huge welcome to you, and I want you to know I have a free gift for you to fast track your learning. It's called the 9 Aspects of the Adored Woman training, and the link is in the show notes. I'm your host, dating and relationship coach, Naomie Thompson, and I want to start today with a confession. I am a recovering needy girl. I made my relationships the source of my happiness and validation, and I always felt let down and disappointed. And if you find yourself often feeling needy or insecure in your relationships, if you find yourself constantly seeking reassurance from your partner, checking your phone if you're dating, reading into silences, feeling that awful, hollow feeling when you don't get the response you're hoping for, then, my darling, you're not alone, not even slightly. Now, I want to be really clear. I'm not a psychologist or a therapist, but what I am is an experienced certified coach and a woman who's lived with neediness and a deep sensitivity all her life. And I found a way through to a place where I feel genuinely grounded, strong, and confident, and especially confident in my ability to be okay no matter what happens in life and love. And I believe in every inch of you being able to do the same too. Today, I want to talk about neediness. Not to shame it or to pathologize it, but to really understand it, because I think neediness is one of the most misunderstood things in dating and relationships. And when you understand what it actually is and where it comes from, it stops being this embarrassing character flaw that you feel ashamed of and you try and hide, and starts being something you can genuinely work with and grow from. So we're going to cover what neediness really is, how it shows up, and 3 practical ways to move through it so you can stop the cycle and you can start feeling genuinely secure in yourself and in love. So let's start with what neediness actually is, because I think the word itself does a lot of damage. Being called needy, clingy, attention-seeking can actually be an incredible stinging thing to hear. And it's not always true. Sometimes the feelings you're feeling are a sign that you are with the wrong person. Sometimes it's just somebody else's perception. Sometimes it's someone who isn't able to meet your very reasonable relational needs, and they're telling you that your needs are the problem. We all have needs, and I'll talk about this later, for security and intimacy and safety. And sometimes another person who is not able or willing to go there, not able to be emotionally available, not able to engage in deeper, closer intimacy, they are telling you that they cannot meet those needs and making you feel like it's your problem. Now, the other side of that, or the other side of the term being needy, and this is worth being honest about, sometimes there is something real there that's worth us looking at. And it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you, but there's just something real that's worth understanding. And Dr. Margaret Paul puts it beautifully. She says, we're needy when we're empty because we've abandoned ourselves by not taking responsibility for our own feelings. So just let that filter in for a second. We're needy when we're empty, not when we're too much. There's nothing wrong with you. We're empty because something inside hasn't been met or acknowledged or tended to. So I like to think of neediness as a symptom or symptoms of unmet needs. The need for safety, the need for security, the certainty that we're loved and we're not about to be abandoned. And Gillian Turecki puts it really well. She says, neediness is when we make others, often unconsciously, responsible for our happiness, our growth, and our security. And here's the thing, like we all have these relational needs. The need to feel known and understood, to belong, the need for intimacy, to feel safe and loved. And those needs are completely valid. They're human. And the shift here is realizing that our partner isn't the only place we can get those needs met. And that when we act as though he is, we put a weight on the relationship that it was never designed to carry. And especially if those needs weren't fully met when we were young, we start looking to our partner to meet all of them. And that's where the trouble begins. So what does neediness actually look like in practice? Because it doesn't always look the way we imagine. It can look like persistently asking for confirmation of love, even when he's already told you, even when he's showing you every day in his own way. So maybe he tells you he loves you and you feel soothed for a while, and then the doubt creeps back in and you need to hear it again. It can look like doing things in order to get approval, like being extra helpful, going out of your way to help him in order to get him to give you that love and attention, solving his problems, being incredibly accommodating, not because you want to, but because some part of you believes that if you're useful enough or lovable enough or low maintenance enough, that he will stay, or that he will provide you with the love and the certainty and the security that you want. It can also look like hanging out in a relationship that really just is not meeting those needs and continuing to hope that it will. But as I said at the very beginning about myself, is just being constantly disappointed and like it's never quite good enough. Like whatever he does is never quite enough. And I remember feeling like I had a rejection detective. And I remember this so well, this feeling like there was a part of me walking around with a giant magnifying glass, constantly scanning for signs I was about to be let down. Analyzing every text when I was dating, over-interpreting silences, bracing for disappointment before it even happened. Sometimes not even asking for what it is I wanted and needed because I already thought I was going to be let down. It can also look like jealousy without any real cause, so your mind running away with worst case scenarios while he's just out with his friends for the evening. And also it can look like pessimism that swings wildly to optimism and then back again, depending on the last thing he said to you. It's like your entire emotional equilibrium is resting on his last message or his last actions. And the painful truth about all of this is that needy energy can be really repellent to other people. And there's nothing wrong with you for having it. But what it communicates to the other person is that they're responsible for your emotional survival. And that's a weight no partner can carry. He will try and he might manage it for a while, but eventually he'll feel the pressure of it and pull away. And then you'll need more reassurance, and then round that cycle goes. So the needy part of you has a thirst that a man can never fully quench. And that's not because you're too much, it's because you're looking in the wrong place to get that thirst quenched. So here's what I want for you to understand. The needy part of you, the parts that's scanning for rejection or craving reassurance, the part of you that's chasing connection and then shutting down when she doesn't get it, she's not your enemy. She's part of you that didn't get what she needed when she was young. A part of you that learned very early on that love was uncertain, that you had to work for it, that you knew it could disappear. And that part of you's been trying to protect you ever since in the only way she knows how. And the problem with that is the strategies that kept you safe as a child don't serve you in an adult relationship. So chasing, making yourself small or overgiving or scanning for danger, being hypervigilant, these patterns were useful adaptations once, but now they're keeping you stuck. And the gold for you to find here is that the only person who can truly meet those deeper needs is you. And it's not because your partner shouldn't bring love and security and affection and understanding to the relationship. He absolutely should. But because there's a part of you that's holding out an anxious, frightened child to a man and saying, please, you take care of her. And what he feels isn't tenderness or this desire to cherish and take care of you. What he feels is pressure. And he may back away from it. And the work here is learning to take care of her yourself. And as I said, this isn't about not expecting the basics from your partner, but what I'm saying is not expecting a man to fill those deeper needs that you have inside of yourself. So the first way to move from neediness to security is to focus on the relationship that's right for you instead of the man who's in front of you. Instead of asking yourself, is this the right man for me? Ask yourself, is this the right relationship for me? And this matters more than it might sound, because when we put all our focus on the man, we turn him into a parent figure. We wait for him to fix us. We want him to be able to spot our every need the way a healthy father will with his child. We measure our worth with how much he gives us. And when he inevitably falls short, because no human being can be another person's everything, we feel rejected and empty and let down. But when you step back and look at the relationship as something the two of you create together, and when you look at what are my deep needs, so when after my marriage and my divorce, and I was dating, the growth in self-awareness I had made me really clear that I am a deeply sensitive woman and I need a very secure man, a solid man, a man who is consistent and secure. So then I knew how I wanted to feel in the relationship was relaxed, secure, like I could just breathe out. I needed to feel clear in my man's feelings for me. Confusion and hot and cold just sent my nervous system into a spin, and it just didn't work for me. But when we look at the relationship as something the two of us create together, this becomes something you can assess much more clearly. So what does he bring to the relationship? What do I bring to the relationship? And together, what do we both create? And if we see the relationship as bigger than the sum of its parts, it's something the two of you bring ingredients to and create together. Together, does what you create actually meet your needs? You know, not perfectly and not always, but enough and consistently in the ways that matter most to you. A guy can be sexy and fun and a really great guy. But if he is just not able to show up for you consistently, it's not going to work for your sensitive soul. And I had an experience of this I'll never forget. I was in a relationship with a really genuinely lovely man, kind, caring, a real sweetheart. However, I had much more needy, anxious tendencies. And he had kind of more sort of strongly independent, slightly more avoidant tendencies. And when I was honest, like not about him, but about the relationship we created together, I could see that it wasn't right. We both could. Nothing was wrong with him and nothing was wrong with me, but just because together what we created wasn't what either of us needed. And that is emotional intelligence. So it's not personal about him and it's not personal about me. It's just true. The relationship fundamentally didn't work. The second thing is to look at the vehicle with which you're looking to get your needs met. Here's what I see again and again, and here's what I experience for myself as well, is so women who really, really need security and stability, dating men who are hot and cold. Women who need emotional intimacy, chasing men who are emotionally reluctant. Women who need closeness and consistency, investing in men who are geographically unavailable or fundamentally not ready for a relationship. So just a visual example I have of this is if you want to cross the English Channel and get to France, you need the right vessel to get you there safely. Now, you could try getting there on a jet ski. Jet ski's fun. They can look sleek and flashy, but you will get partway across, you'll run out of fuel, and when the seas get rough, as they will, you are going to have to turn back. You would be very lucky to get all the way to France on a jet ski. What you want is a vessel that is going to get you there. You want the boat, the yacht, the one that is made for crossing, the one that can handle the weather. So is the man you're investing in offering you a jet ski or a yacht? And I'm not talking about he's got to offer you a super yacht, baby. But I'm saying you just need to look at realistically, how are you going to get to your destination? And is the hot and cold man going to get you to the destination that you want, which is feeling emotionally secure, loved in the relationship you want? Marriage, children, connection, teamwork, partnership. And is the vehicle you're looking at to get you there, is it seaworthy? Is it journey ready? Is it made for all weathers? Because there's going to be a lot of weather in the relationship you're looking at and looking for. But it's about being honest with yourself about whether the vehicle you've chosen can actually take you where you want to go. And I know this analogy can only be stretched so far, but I believe it's really useful. So the third way is to learn to self-soothe. And this is the one that changed everything for me personally. This is about giving yourself what you're craving from him. And it isn't that you have to meet every single need that you have yourself, because there are needs that only the relationship and being in relationship with other people that we get those needs met. Now, I noticed something about myself years ago. I kept attracting men who were not verbally affectionate in my teens, in my 20s, in my marriage. Then when I was dating after divorce, like the same pattern, men who were wonderful in many ways, but who could never quite say the loving and affirming things that I was craving. And then I asked myself, how lovingly do I speak to myself? And the answer was actually not very, in fact, barely at all. So I started practicing. And I realized how vulnerable I felt when a man complimented me. So I would look at myself in the mirror and say, I love you. I love you so much. You're doing great. And when I was upset, when a date had gone badly, or when I felt rejected, I was sitting there crying, I'd look at myself and say, you're doing great. You keep going. You'll get there. So I became my own cheerleader. And you know, something really remarkable happened. Very quickly, I started attracting men who were verbally affectionate. Men who'd say, you're incredible. Do you know that? Oh, you're so beautiful. You're an amazing woman. And then I realized I hadn't been able to attract that before. Or even if they had been doing it, I couldn't receive it. I'd been pushing it away because I didn't know how to receive it. I didn't know what to do with those compliments. It felt so vulnerable. So when you give yourself the love and affirmation you've been craving from someone else, two things happen. You stop being so desperately hungry for it from him, which means you stop the needy behavior that was pushing him away, and you start to believe, like really believe, that you deserve it, which means when it arrives, you can actually let it in. And it does require vulnerability, because this lands in a vulnerable place. And the next thing I had to learn was how to express how it felt to hear that. When a man says, I love you, instead of me just saying, I love you back, I'd just say, I feel really loved. That feels wonderful to hear. Now that takes vulnerability. That's a tender thing to say. But that tenderness and that vulnerability is about what creates that real connection. So when we have thoughts, feelings that feel so unlike anything we want to feel, when we feel shame or self-loathing or sadness, that nasty voice in our head is just like berating us. This is where we need to step in and give ourselves the love, loving the part of you that thinks she's not good enough, loving the part of you that feels that you're not lovable, that you're messing things up. So sometimes just literally that, looking in the mirror and facing yourself and consciously giving yourself some love is so powerful, and it works. It just reprograms something inside of you. And the more you do it, the more you will start to believe it. Because from my own experience, what I believe is that we just get in the habit of believing things. And those habits may have started when we were very young. If our parent wasn't present, the conclusion we may have come to is, I've done something wrong. I'm not a good enough daughter. If I was more helpful or fun or sweeter, he would spend more time with me. We think it's our fault. And we just get used to having these beliefs. So, by that same method and idea and strategy, then we can do the opposite. You can get used to believing that you are worthy, that you are lovable. And the more you tell yourself that, well, then that's like rewiring. That's like replacing those old habits with new habits. And this is going to be incredibly powerful. And if you want some peace in your head, if you want to start feeling secure, knowing that you are going to be okay no matter what happens in life and love, if you want to feel more peaceful, that your head isn't so full of conflicting thoughts, that your body's not so full all the time of these feelings of, am I good enough? What am I doing wrong? Is he about to disappear? Then these 3 different ways are going to help you so much. And the way number 1 was focus on the relationship that's right for you, not the man that's in front of you. The second is look at the vehicle you're using to get your needs met. And the third, learn to self-soothe and be your own cheerleader and your best friend. So I'm sure if you're still listening now that you recognize yourself in some of this. The rejection detecting, the reassurance seeking, that hollow feeling that sends you, reaching for your phone to check your texts, or trying to seek reassurance constantly from your partner, then I would love for you to hear this. You are not too much. There's nothing wrong with you. You're a woman with needs that deserve to be met. The work is learning to meet some of them yourself so that when a wonderful man shows up, you're not handing him an anxious child asking him to be her parent. What you're doing is showing up as a woman who knows her worth, who can receive love and who doesn't need to chase it. And that woman's already in you. She just needs a little bit more of your attention. And also a wonderful thing that happens when we learn this is that we raise the bar. You will naturally become less interested in men who are not emotionally available or capable of the kind of intimacy and love and commitment that you want. You'll get bored of them. You won't even entertain them. Join me for my free training, The 9 Aspects of the Adored Woman. And hit the follow button to get informed when new episodes come. And the more of you who follow this podcast, Spotify, Apple will send it to people who really need to hear it. And I just love seeing more followers. I really love and appreciate you all. I really look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And until then, loads of love.